Welcome to your Monday. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, aka your Mr. Monday, and this quick bit of motivation and inspiration was originally published on December the 20th, 2021. The original message goes as follows. When a person gives false information, there is a difference between being misinformed and lying. If you show any doubt, they will tend to assume you think they are lying. So going back into this one, sometimes it takes a little time to kind of figure out when I reread these messages to record them, because they're always 9 months to a year or so ahead of time when they're written and put in the queue, what they actually attend to. Some of them are harder than others, and sometimes the meanings actually change when I read it and think, oh, the situation now, it's not more or less what it was then, but it still makes a good message to do based on the situation. This is one that's a direct story from person that I got from person about this time last year around the holiday time, and a conversation they had with some family and friends during the holiday gatherings, as sparse as they were because of COVID and whatnot, that came to a head with a couple of shot matches because a lot of people found themselves in situations that they weren't quite expecting in gathering. So misinformation and lying. We have been dealing with, and I'm saying this from a personal perspective, that we've been dealing with a lot of misinformation in the media where I work, and just in the general populace of just people not being smart enough to realize what's good and what's not in the general populace. And that's been going on since the dawning of time, of course, but it's been extremely bad here where I live, the United States, over the past, I'll say 10 years specifically, but we'll say 5-6 years based on the past president. If you know what time it is, you know who that guy is. And a lot of things surrounding the political situation turned into a lot of big misinformed people spreading all sorts of information that made no sense, but because it was not what the other guy was saying, what the guy that they didn't vote for was saying, they were more than happy to believe it. Now, it's one thing to just sort of believe something that's wrong and then kind of go along spreading those words, spreading that idea around. That's a whole different topic from just flat out lying. Knowing that what you're saying is not true and spreading them around as bad information is worse than just being poorly informed, because poorly informed people, anybody can be poorly informed. A news outlet that has all the right intentions can put out the wrong bits of data in the wrong order, and people could take that and run with that before they can make a correction. That's why corrections in newspapers back in the day were so powerful. But of course, everyone read the newspaper, so everyone got that correction at the same time. Now with splintered news media and whatnot, it's not that way. And since some people say they don't watch news, but they get the information from people who get it from people who get it from people on social media, that's why it's so hard to hold on to true, really clean information. The particular problem that the person who relayed their family story to me that inspired me to jot this down is they were having conversations with people, and some of the words that were coming out of other people's mouths were making no sense. They were simply not coherent for the most part. It's not just flat out misinformation. It was kind of downright crazy. It didn't make any sense. It was not coherent speak, but they believed it with all their heart. So when this person kind of tried to gently shoot holes into the theory and bring them down to earth in a case, the people basically telling the stories mostly got offended because they assumed that they were just making it up for shock value. They assumed that the story was totally false, totally just out there, and that they were just out there being the bearers of bad news, fake news, made up news on their own to shock people, as opposed to something that they truly believe they got from somebody else that made total sense to them, even though in the conversations that this person was having, it just did not work out to the level of sanity in most cases. As we say, if a person is out there telling words of misinformation, saying things that don't make any sense, and you're just having pleasant, conversation with them, and you just sort of kind of like, yeah, is that really the case? Stuff like that. They're going to take the assumption that you think they're making it up. You think they are lying about it. You think they are the bearers of bad news that's fake news on their own volition, not that it's something that makes sense to them that they carried over. So This is one of those be careful in your family gathering messages, and just be careful with folks who are not talking the same language. And we'll just leave it at that as you will. People are going to say what they mean, say what they feel, say what they heard, say what they believe. And if they mean, believe, heard, and feel these things, then it's true to them. Whether it is true or not is beside the point. Them being misinformed is not the same as them out there trying to lie to the world to spread other bad news. Yes, they are spreading bad news, but it's not them out there purposely lying and creating it to make bad decisions worse for people. So you have to be leery of yourself when you get to be leery of the really crazy things people are saying. Try not to invoke anyone to make them think that you are calling them a liar, that thing that happened down the street didn't actually happen down the street, even though you're pretty sure it didn't happen down the street. Don't try to, coddle anybody. Don't try to patronize anybody, but just be a little more wary in your conversations, because there's still plenty of people out there who are saying things on the opposite end of the spectrum. That's not just a true philosophy idea. They really are still stuck in a kind of a time warp brainwash issue where things that should not make any sense are somehow making sense to them because someone spoke to them directly to them in a way that made sense, and it felt like they were being heard. So they will listen to that person, and they're willing to spread their lies as the misinformation they were given. Don't make them feel like they themselves are the liars spreading the bad information. When a person gives false information, there's a difference between being misinformed and lying. If you show any doubt, they will tend to assume you think they are lying. This original message was published on December 20th, 2021 from Welcome to Your Monday. For more messages like this one, plus books, merchandise, and other information related to this project, visit the website, welcometoyourmonday.com.